Hey, good Tullymore Thursday to you, everybody. Glad you're with us on X's and Bros. What a night. What a day. What storylines there are to tell throughout this afternoon and probably more to come. No question. I'm Matt Shepard. Trent Bally is with us as well. This is X's and Bros throughout the state of Michigan, and the Meyer Hotline is always open for you. Anything that might be on your mind, we welcome it. 866-838-4843. Sports Radio 21,000. Yes, the big news was, well, Tarek Skubal and his arbitration hearing. We won't know from that three-member panel in Arizona until today. All right, but it did go down yesterday. The Tigers made headlines, though, and this is the biggest story in this market. This is the biggest story in the state as well. They have signed, and you know this by now probably, Framber Valdez to a 3-year, $115 million deal that includes a $20 million signing bonus. The 32-year-old gets the highest AAV ever for a left-handed pitcher. It's $38.3 million per year. Since 2020, he leads the major league starters in wins, fifth in innings, sixth in WAR. There are some slight concerns, and I can give you that coming up, but this is not a morning to rain on that proverbial parade. You don't do that. This is an impressive signing by the Tigers. This is how they're going to win. You're going to win with Tarek Skubal as your ace, Framber Valdez is your two, and I've been squawking about this. This team needs a number two starter. They have a number two starter. Then you throw in Casey Mize as a 3, which is where he should be slotted. Then you throw in Jack Flaherty as a 4, which is where he should be slotted. Then you throw in Reese Olson, who could be higher if he could ever stay healthy. You have Troy Melton and you have Drew Anderson. The latter, Melton, pretty damn good. This is what they have. Last 2 years, Valdez 18-4 and then 13-6. 2.39 ERA 2 years ago, 2.21 ERA last year. Good stuff. This is outstanding stuff. And you have great balance. You have 3 lefties with Skubal, Valdez, and Anderson, and you have 3 righties with Mize, Flaherty, and Olson. Oh, and by the way, Jackson Jobe, when he comes back from injury, may not be until the end of this year, but a lot of times as a general manager, in this case, a president of baseball operations, you must look forward. And here's the speculation, and it's understood, and it's the right speculation. If they can't re-sign Tarek Skubal, you still have Framber Valdez as your ace. Then you have Jackson Jobe when he comes back and he's healthy. And you have Casey Mize, and you have Reese Olson, and you have Troy Melton. So it softens the blow if, and it's a big if, they don't sign Tarek Skubal. The naysayers, the negativity that might be associated with this, or is it just reality? You're signing this dude for $38.3 million, and you offered Tarek Skubal 19.8 in arbitration? You're signing this cat to $38.3 million, and you're concerned about signing your ace to $40 million per year? Now, the difference, in fairness to the Tigers, is the length of term. 3-year contract for Framber Valdez, rock solid. What have we said on this show for over a year? Seriously, we have said short-term big money for Tarek Skubal. We've also said this team needs a right-handed stick and a number 2 starter. They got the number 2 starter. I can't sit there and complain about this when I'm the one who's been saying time and time and time again, this is what they need. They need a legitimate number 2. The 2 isn't Jack Flaherty. The 2 isn't Casey Mize, with all due respect. The 2 isn't Reese Olson. It could be Jackson Jobe in the future. Hell, he could be a 1 in the future. But you don't have him this year, in all likelihood. So this is a hell of a signing from Scott Harris. Kudos to him, because they have arguably the best 1-2 punch in all of baseball. I won't go so far as to say they have the best rotation. Okay, I'm not going to do that. Some people have gone a little crazy with that. I look at it when you see what Toronto has. I mean, you've got Shane Bieber, Dylan Cease, Jose Barrios, Kevin Gausman, Trey Yasevich, who was unbelievable in the playoffs a year ago. So I'm not going that far, but they have, without a question, they have the best 1-2 puncher from the left side, and they have one of the best rotations in the American League. There's no question. So kudos to the Tigers. It's fantastic stuff. It should give you a lot of excitement. Red Wings hit the Olympic break, losing 4-5. Utah controls them in a 4-1 win last night. Nick Schmaltz and Clayton Keller each had a goal and assist for the Mammoth, who've won 8 of their last 10 at home. Meanwhile, Montreal steamrolls Winnipeg 5-1 to tie Detroit for second in the division with 72 points. Rangers have traded Artemi Panarin to the Kings, then signed the 35-year-old to a 2-year extension. Disappointment and sadness yesterday. Mickey Lolich, the great Mickey Lolich, has died. World Series hero, tossed 3 complete games in 1968. He's the primary reason the Tigers won their 3rd of 4 world championships, and he was MVP. He ranks 5th in strikeouts all time among left-handed pitchers. He pitched 16 years in the big leagues, 13 with the Tigers, struck out 200 batters or more 7 times, won 15 games or more 8 times. Mickey Lolich was 85. We will talk with his teammate, Denny McClain, at 8:35 today. Pistons going to welcome Washington to town tonight. Wizards made news Wednesday trading the 10-time All-Star Anthony Davis and 3 other players in an 8-player, 3-team deal. More stuff taking place in the NBA. A lot of trades going down. Pretty interesting stuff. Watched this game last night, and I try not to let one game determine too much, especially during the season. But last night was one of the games that was the most unlike MSU game I've ever seen. And I'm not being hyperbolic here. Minnesota beats MSU 76-73. State actually went on like a 20-8 run in the final 4 minutes, but they dug themselves too big of a hole. It was just too much. State has now lost 2 in a row. They've dropped to 19-4 on the year, 9-3 in conference play, which isn't a big deal, right? I mean, those are good numbers overall. You just don't expect to lose to a team that's a game under 500 and 4-8 in conference play. And you don't expect that team to beat you wire to wire. And you don't expect your big name guys to lack the type of hustle you're used to seeing from MSU basketball teams, right? And it's a little frustrating and concerning as you move forward to see what is happening with Jeremy Fears. Jeremy Fears is a guy who I've said is, before the Michigan game, I said he might be the Big Ten Player of the Year. And now he can't win it. He just can't. And the reason he can't is because the people who are voting on that award have seen what he did against Michigan, and they saw what he did last night. On, what would you say, Trent, 4 different occasions that they see him? I think it was at least 4.
Yeah, and it was the worst possible time for him to do that. You know, after Dusty May was complaining about it all week, so you know it's on the ref's mind, and they're looking for stuff like that. And for you to go out there and give 4 very targeted instances, let's put it that way, not a good look.
Yeah, and I don't know how many times Dusty May said it. He was asked about it, so he answered the question.
Right, I'm just saying it was on the ref's mind. Okay,
yeah,
so
I think it was on everybody's mind.
Sure,
no question.
The internet as well. Yes,
for sure. Pretty blatant stuff though, and it's a really bad look. Tom Izzo said, "Look, I don't even know if I'm going to start him next game." After the game, he said that. He's like, "Look, I got to talk to him." He's talked to him about this. It's weird because prior to the Michigan game, have we even seen it? Do we even look for it? Did we even notice it? Yesterday, it was tough not to notice it. 2 attempted trips, a shove to the jaw, a kick to the groin. I mean, it's concerning. And now you've got the red flag on you. We'll get to the Mitch Lyons poll question when we come back and talk a lot of Tigers to start this Tullymore Thursday with you on X's and Bros on the Michigan Sports Network.
You've worked hard for decades saving in pre-tax retirement plans like 401ks and IRAs, saving on taxes now. But as your retirement now approaches, you're going to get taxed at rates you have no control over. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth. Your 401k balance isn't worth what your statement says. You could lose thousands of dollars to taxes, and those distributions can impact other areas of your retirement like Social Security and Medicare. Could a Roth IRA conversion be of help to you? You've probably heard of Roth conversions, but it can be confusing. Should you convert all at once or over time? Where should you pay the taxes from? How do you know for sure? Get our free personalized Roth Blueprint analysis today to find out exactly what makes sense for you. Your Roth Blueprint could potentially increase your lifetime wealth by thousands of dollars. So get your free Roth Blueprint today. Text Blueprint to 844-867-8335. That's Blueprint to 844-867-8335. Or go to MitchLyonsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Thanks for tuning in to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard, only on the Michigan Sports Network.
Huge here for the Huge Show that airs weekdays at 3. It's Super Bowl week 2026, presented by DraftKings and the Huge Show, X's and Bros and the Michigan Sports Network. They're going to give one lucky listener $1,000 in cash to wager on the big game on Sunday. Simple to enter. Just text DK to 21,000. Text DK to 21,000, and you'll be in the drawing Friday at 5:50 p.m. on The Huge Show.
Hey, back with you on X's and Bros, Monday through Friday, 6 until 9. Phone number on the Meyer hotline, 866-838-4843. You can text us, Sports Radio 21,000. Here's the Mitch Lyons Wealth poll question, and we're brought to you this hour by our friends at Mitch Lyons Wealth. How do you look at the Framber Valdez signing? Do you look at it like they still need a bat? Scott Harris has redeemed himself in the offseason. Valdez was signed in case they lose Skubal. Or why give Valdez all that cash and not Skubal? Trent, I think I've covered pretty much how people feel with those four choices. Still need a bat. Harris has redeemed himself. They signed him in case they lose Skubal. And Valdez gets the cash, but why not Skubal? You can vote as often as you want at XB Mornings, and we'll give you the results in the 8 o'clock hour tomorrow on the verge of Super Bowl 60, okay? You know, I tweeted that out last night. I tweeted out it's a hell of a rotation. If they stay healthy, they're going to be tough to beat. Pitching-wise is my point. There's more response about they still need a bat than anything else. You still have to hit than anything else. And I understand that. I understand people have been a little disappointed. I understand people wanted certain guys. You wanted Bo Bichette. You wanted Alex Bregman, blah, 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 blah. This is a way that if they truly believe, and why wouldn't you? If you truly believe that your younger players are going to come up and make an offensive impact, that your pitching is going to get you there. The pitching will get you to that point. And if you try to look at his philosophy, just try. I know how you feel about this. I know where the emotion is, okay? The emotion is, damn it, we don't have a third baseman. We need a right-handed power bat. We wanted at least 1 year with Suarez, even though his defense sucks. His offense strikes out too much, but he does drive in runs. And he has a history of home run power. I think that's fair to say when you hit 49 bombs last year. Okay. Or you wanted a Bregman on a long-term deal, which would then block some of your young guys, which to me, I wouldn't build teams based on that. Well, can't get this guy. Why not? He may block this young guy. But the veteran is already proven, and the young guy hasn't proven anything until he's gotten through AA. Well, that's how some people feel. I'm not always right. They're not always right. But that's how some people feel. So, okay, that's what you wanted. Does this signing, and it's the richest signing for any lefty in history, does it tell you that Chris Ilitch is ready to spend money or is willing to spend money? Here's the way I look at certain things, okay? If you've got Gleyber Torres at 1 year, $22 million. You've got Javier Baez at $25 million, right? Trent, what's Jack Flaherty making this year? Is it 20 or 25 million? Do you know?
I thought it was 20. I can double check for us.
Okay. So let's say it's $20 million. Okay. And then you've got you've got Kenley Jansen at $11 million. All right. It's 20. Okay. So you've got 2, 4, 6. Those four guys alone are $78 million. It's coming off your books. Do you think Gleyber Torres is going to be here past this coming season? Just
most likely not. No.
Okay. Do you think Javier Baez?
Hell no. I mean, unless he has like a really good year and he wants to finish his career in Detroit. But other than that, no.
Do you think Jack Flaherty is?
Nope.
Do you think Kenley Jansen will?
No.
Okay. So roughly, what you have is four guys who are playing their last years as a Tiger. Either way, let's say even one of them wants to come back. Let's say Kenley Jansen has so much fun here and he was so productive, he'll come back. Most of them are coming at a reduced rate. I think that's fair to say.
Sure.
Considering their age, considering what we expect of them, I think it's fair to say it's going to be at a reduced rate. With that said, you've got all that money. All right? You've got all that money to be able to save right there, $78 million. What would be, and now, of course, you've added 38 per year. So maybe I should subtract that. What does that leave you? It leaves you $40 million. Now, it's 4 guys. You still have to get guys to play those positions. Stay with me on the thinking here. You saved all that money for next year. You pay Tarek Skubal the $40 million that he's allegedly going to receive, right? I mean, that's what everybody says. 10 years, $400 million, right? Something like that. The young guys you got coming in are not going to make a lot of money. If you truly believe in your guys, and based on your actions this year, is it fair to assume that's what you believe in? I think it's fair to assume that. If that's the case, Gleyber Torres is out at second. There goes Kevin McGonigal. Javier Baez is out at short. There goes a Bryce Rayner. Third base, you can keep with Cole Keith. Max Clark goes to center. Parker Meadows, I don't know what happens, but none of those guys are going to break your bank next year.
A lot can happen in one season, but it certainly seems like that is what the Tigers are banking on, especially after last night's signing. That was my knee-jerk reaction to it. I think it was yours as well. They're not going to break the bank for Skubal right now because they believe that bringing up this young talent in combination with, some of the young talent you already have, like you just said, Shep, you're not going to have to spend a whole lot of money for those guys. So in theory, if Skubal puts together another Cy Young level season,
if your belief is they're not going to spend a lot of money, then you could spend the money on Skubal, is my point. If your payroll this year, is $180 million, with Framber Valdez, it's approaching that and then some, all right? If you're talking about $180 million and you're going to lose 78 next year off that, but add the 40 for Skubal and a young player's salary dipping in here and there, you can keep it the same.
Yeah. You won't exceed 200 mil,
You can keep it roughly the same payroll. You would have to sign him to a long-term deal, or hell, if he wants to do the short-term deal, I've been in favor of that for over a year. Sign him to a short-term deal, pay the big bucks,
right? And
your payroll doesn't waver much. Maybe a little bit, but not much. Considering who you got coming off the books and what you're replacing it with. I mean, answer me this. If you're going to take the 78 mil off the books and you've got 2 position players set, right?
Yes.
You got McGonigal and maybe a Rayner or maybe a Clark. And I know he's an outfielder, but you know what I'm talking about. With Jack Flaherty going off the books, there's Jackson Jobe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And with Kenley Jansen going off the books, there's Troy Melton.
Fill in the blank.
Fill in the blank. You can get a reliever.
I was going to say, that's the easiest hole to fill, in theory.
Right. The problem is, with that theory, you're also, in all likelihood, some guys are going to wear down. Will Vest has thrown a lot lately.
And that's why I said a lot
Kyle
can change
Finnegan
in a
has thrown
season.
a lot. Yeah. So, but you can get some of those relievers with decent, sometimes 1, no more than 2-year contracts. That's what you got Kyle Finnegan for. 2 years, $19 million. Okay. That's a good deal for a guy at the back end of your bullpen when you're paying him under $10 million per year. My point is, you're going to save so much from the guys who are going to be gone after this coming season that it should, and you wanted to keep the payroll the same. You can do that by getting Tarek Skubal and making sure those guys are off your payroll. It's not that far-fetched at all. 866-838-4843. Text Sports Radio 21,000. Just getting rolling on a Tuesday, on a Tullymore Thursday, brought to you by Mitch Lyons Wealth.
You've worked hard for decades saving in pre-tax retirement plans like 401ks and IRAs, saving on taxes now. But as your retirement now approaches, you're going to get taxed at rates you have no control over. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth. Your 401k balance isn't worth what your statement says. You could lose thousands of dollars to taxes, and those distributions can impact other areas of your retirement like Social Security and Medicare. Could a Roth IRA conversion be of help to you? You've probably heard of Roth conversions, but it can be confusing. Should you convert all at once or over time? Where should you pay the taxes from? How do you know for sure? Get our free personalized Roth Blueprint analysis today to find out exactly what makes sense for you. Your Roth Blueprint could potentially increase your lifetime wealth by thousands of dollars. So get your free Roth Blueprint today. Text Blueprint to 844-867-8335. That's Blueprint to 844-867-8335. Or go to MitchLionsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Calling all of my fellow sports gamblers, the Michigan Sports Network wants you to bet responsibly on the big game, and the best way to do that is through DraftKings. X's and Bros on the Huge Show are giving away $1,000 cash to wager on the big game. All you need to do is text DK to 21,000. That's DK as in DraftKings to 21000. Make sure autocorrect doesn't bite you. Winners will be announced Friday at 5:50 p.m. on the Huge Show, so text DK to 21,000 now.
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu.
Super Bowl 60's inching closer toward us. Yeah, I know, the end of football season. It's a kind of a melancholy feel, but not if you're part of DraftKings Sportsbook. They're the official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 60, and they're going to put you right in the middle of the action. We know that anything can happen during the Super Bowl. DraftKings has your back with early exit. If a player goes down in the first half, you still get paid out in cash immediately once your bet settles. No bonus bets, no waiting, doesn't matter. And if you're new to DraftKings, you're going to get the opportunity to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code HUGE to do that. It's in partnership with DraftKings. Crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 years or older, Michigan only. Eligibility and restrictions do apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, we invite you to see dkng.com/audio for a limited time. Don't forget about the poll question, the Mitch Lyons wealth poll question of the day. Trent has tweeted it out, and I'm retweeting it. What's your reaction to the Tigers signing of Framber Valdez? They still need a bat. Scott Harris is redeemed. They expect to lose Skubal. Why him and not Skubal? You can vote as often as you'd like. You can do that at XB Mornings or at ShepMat, and the results will be tabulated. We'll give it to you at 8 o'clock. The loss of Mickey Lolich hits a lot of people hard. There's just a handful of members of that 68 team still alive, and one of them is Denny McClain, and he will join us at 8:35 to talk about his longtime teammate, Mickey Lolich, who was the hero of the 1968 World Series. Denny McClain was the hero of the 1968 season. He was the MVP. He was the Cy Young Award winner. Mickey Lolich stole the show in the World Series against the Cardinals. So we will talk to him at 8:35 and looking forward to that. I do enjoy talking baseball with you. Feel free on the Meyer hotline, 866-838-4843. This Framber Valdez signing is amazing. Maybe this quiets people down a little bit that Chris Ilitch isn't willing to spend money. The theme from everybody in the media was, well, Chris, you told us you were going to spend when the timing is right. And so many people were wondering, why haven't you spent yet? He did spend. So here's what you have. And I don't know if it's good enough. Neither do you. I don't know if this satisfies you from a financial standpoint either. But they settled financially in arbitration with players like Riley Green and Spencer Torkelson and Zach McKinstry and Kerry Carpenter. Okay, fine. You spend $22 million at Gleyber Torres. He did that. Everybody, including yours truly, said that was a surprise for the Tigers. They did not expect him to accept the qualifying offer, but $22 million is a lot for him. You still have the $20+ million for Javier Baez. You don't think it's worth it, even though at the time he signed, many people were excited about it. There's nothing you could do about it. That is spending money. You have Jack Flaherty for $20 million. Again, we don't think it's worth it. It is spending money. You're going to spend at least $19 million on Tarik Skubal. In all likelihood, I would expect it to be 32. Begrudgingly by the organization. It's still spending the money. You're still writing the check. And you knew that going in, and yet you still signed a guy for $38.3 million per season. That's spending some cash. It may not be where or the right people you wanted them to spend it on. It's still spending money. That has to change a theme. Or does it? The one guy, Framber Valdez, the signing of that one guy, does it change the aforementioned narrative about Tigers ownership?
I don't think it does, because I think it matters where you spend it, like you just alluded to. And I think fans would rather see the Tigers go pay bats than pay a dominant left-handed pitcher when you already have one who you're not willing to pay as it is and is going to arbitration. I'm just saying, I think that's how most fans think.
I know. But my point is, you do have to think ahead, right? You can't live in a moment. You and I live in a moment. Fans live in a moment. Management cannot live in one single season moment. That's why, part of the reason why I hate the whole philosophy of windows. You don't live in just one season. You have to think forward constantly. Offensive coordinators have to think forward. What's going to happen if we don't get second down, or if we don't get the third down play moving in our direction, right? And they don't think it on second down. They don't think it on third down. They're thinking way ahead. You need your general managers to think way ahead too. And this is obvious. I don't think anybody would disagree with this. This is a safety precaution. In case we don't sign Tarek Skubal, we at least still have an ace. And we'll have another one in our back pocket when he gets healthy in Jackson Jobe. And we'll still have some other players who complement our pitching staff. I think it's a very smart move. It's a lot of money. Would I have spent this much money on Framber Valdez? Absolutely not. But it's the going rate to a certain extent. But you bring up a really good point, and I think it's a fair point that you think fans would like this money spent elsewhere. There's nothing you can do about the Javier Baez contract. It's already there. All right. I suppose you could buy him out and then try to replace him with who? Bo Bichette? Highly unlikely. And by the way, he's not great defensively, but he's good offensively. The Gleyber Torres, you had to offer that. You had to make that because you would get a draft pick in return if he didn't sign. And there are worse second basemen, but there's a lot better second basemen out there too. Okay. And then as far as Kenley Jansen is concerned, it doesn't necessarily move my needle, but $11 million based on baseball standards is not a ton of money. It's really coming down to two guys, and then the one guy you didn't get. Who that guy is, Bichette, Tucker, Bregman, whomever, I don't know. That's the hard thing that people are trying to wrestle with. They're happy, I believe, really happy and proud that Framber Valdez is now a Tiger. But they're wondering, perhaps, A, what took you so long? And B, why didn't you address another area? In other words, we always want more. Freddie sends us a text. We always appreciate it. It's always great to hear from him. And here's what he had to say. He said, kudos to Scott Harris. And here's a listener who's been really hard on Scott Harris. Hopefully fans drop the narrative Chris is cheap and not his dad. His dad spent like a fan. Yeah, his dad spent like an owner who wanted to win. Does Steve Cohen spend like a fan? He spends like an owner who wants to win. Dodgers spend like a fan. They spend like they want to win. So I don't know if Mr. I spent like a fan as much as an owner who wanted to win. Look, how many times have we talked with Tigers fans and all they want to hear is, I got this big name for this much money. And then at the end of that contract, it'll be, gosh darn it, why'd you spend so much money on a big name like this guy? And that's how it is with Javier Baez right now. When Javier Baez signed with the Tigers, everybody was like, whoo, this is awesome. We got a big name guy. We got a shortstop. It fills a need, blah, 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 blah. And now you're like, gosh darn it, why did you spend so much money on this guy? So that's why you have to be careful. I love the signing, but they must trade Tarek unless he re-signs now. I do not want to lose him for a draft pick. They're not beating Toronto. They're not beating the Mets. They're not beating the Dodgers. Fans will say, go for it now, but they will be pissed in November if they only get a draft pick. Go get some players for him now and see if you can still get into the playoffs. Well, so a couple of things there. No offense. You don't know if you can't beat the Blue Jays, and you don't have to worry about beating the Mets or the Dodgers until you get to what you would hope would be the World Series. As far as the Blue Jays are concerned, the baseball and sports in general is so flipping wide open, man. I've stopped trying to just predict a full 162 game schedule. I think it's pointless. I think there are so many examples, and we don't have to go deep into the archives for this either. There are so many examples of teams that have surprised us. And I know Toronto was really good last year, okay? They ended the season on a nice roll, and they won the East. Really tough thing. But how many people, I mean, be honest, when you looked at it overall, did you expect the Milwaukee Brewers to win their division and lead baseball in victories with 97? I sure as hell didn't. Did you expect the Mets to finish 12 games back of the Phillies in the NL East? I did not. What makes us think? I mean, let's be honest, just based on Freddie's text, what makes us think that the Tigers or anybody can't beat the New York Mets after that was arguably the most disappointing team in all of baseball a year ago? Why would we? Because they added Bo Bichette? Why do we think that team is suddenly unbeatable? They added Luis Robert, who you and I have both. If you're watching Tigers baseball, they play the White Sox quite a bit. You know that he's not always out there busting it for you on a regular basis, because they have Juan Soto, really good player when he's engaged. But there were times last year where his efforts were questioned. I don't understand why that would be one of those beaming lights of baseball superior team-wise, the measuring stick, if you will. I mean, sure, people expect them to win the NL East. They expected them last year to win the NL East. They finished 12 games back. I don't know, and neither do you. You think there's no way you're going to beat that team, and yet somehow it happened. No way did we think 2 years ago the Tigers would come from behind and make the playoffs, and yet they did. No way did we think the Tigers would blow a lead that they did a year ago in the division, and yet they did. So there's just too many things in baseball that we don't know. What if all kinds of injuries hit the Blue Jays? They lose Kevin Gausman. That could be a serious issue. They lose any of those guys, it could be a really tough issue to overcome. So I'm not going to say that just yet. I would worry about this. I would worry more about, can they win the division? The way the Tigers are built right now, and Fangraphs had them at, 83 wins. I'm sure that would bump up considerably now. 86, 87, maybe. But Fangraphs had them winning the division at 43% before signing Framber Valdez. Now you're adding a guy who, since he's become a starter, leads all of baseball in victories. He's top 5 in ERA. Now, there are some concerns. I think it's fair to bring that up. There are some concerns when it comes to Framber Valdez. And again, I like the signing. I think it's too much money, but I like the signing. His strikeout rate has decreased each of the last 3 years. It's still above league average, but his strikeout rate has decreased. It went from 24.8% in 2023 to 24% to 23.3% last year. Again, slightly above league average. His walk rate has increased each of the last 3 years. He went from 7.1% in 2023 to 8% in 2024 to 8.5% last year, and it's right around league average. So it's not a huge red flag. I'm just giving you some statistics that have gone down or gone up. Strikeout rate gone down slightly. Walk rate has gone up slightly. Not the trend you'd like. Doesn't make me think he can't pitch. Doesn't make me think he can't be a number 2 in this staff. And it doesn't mean that I wouldn't want the guy on my team. I'm just giving you some numbers. And lastly, the hard hit rate. So we hear baseball players, baseball teams all the time, baseball front office personnel all the time refer to analytics. I'm just using many of the statistics or the numbers that they tell us about on a regular basis. We don't look at batting average anymore. We look at OPS and OPS plus and this, that, and the other thing. Okay.
Which can get exhausting.
It gets, yeah. And it's happening in every sport, I might add. Okay. I mean, think about what I said regarding basketball yesterday. Basketball was about, steals and blocks. What do they call that? What is that stat? Socks? right?
Yeah.
Steals and
Yes,
sacks. Yeah.
combined per game or whatever. And
Yeah,
the Pistons
yeah.
are we
And
brought it up.
the Pistons got 17, and that's the third best of any team in the last 35 years. Okay.
But it can be the most. I think it's the worst in baseball. It is happening across all sports, but in baseball, it's nauseating.
100%. And it's because there's so many different aspects of the game, right? And because numbers have always been associated with baseball more than any other sport. Anyway, so I give you the strikeout rate that has gone down each of the last 3 years, mildly. The walk rate that's gone up each of the last 3 years, mildly. And then the hard hit rate. 45.5% in 2023. 45% in 2024. 46.3% in 2025. That is above or worse than league average. League average and hard hit rate is at 41%. Framber Valdez, it's at 46.3. So how much, and that's among 52 qualified pitchers, how much of a concern should that be? Well, I mean, I don't think it should be a major concern. Not so much that would make you go, sorry, I can't sign this guy. It's a 3-year contract. That's exactly what this team should have done to a short-term deal. Now, here's the other thing. He's a ground ball pitcher. This isn't a concern for me from a pitching standpoint because I think it's perfect. It's a concern for me from the infield defense. Now, this is something that people may not necessarily want to talk about, but he had a really good infield defense in Houston. He doesn't have a really good infield defense in Detroit. He throws 58.6% ground ball rate. That is far above the league average. The league average is 41.8%. He's way above that, okay? So if you get ground balls, if he's a ground ball pitcher, you better have a good defense behind him. Am I wrong there? I'm giving you numbers here. Are you confident in this team's infield defense? Most people would say no. Are you making the routine play? That's what you have to think first and foremost. Can those guys make the routine plays? I hope so, but I don't see that all night, every night. So that's the concern I have. It's not necessarily Framber Valdez. It's perhaps the way the team is built around him. Get your thoughts on that. The Meyer hotline, 866-838-4843. Text us, Sports Radio 21,000. Denny McClain joins us 8:35 here on X's and Bros. Talk about his teammate, the great Mickey Lolich, dead at the age of 85. Back with more after this. This hour brought to you by Mitch Lyons Wealth.
You've worked hard for decades saving in pre-tax retirement plans like 401ks and IRAs, saving on taxes now. But as your retirement now approaches, you're going to get taxed at rates you have no control over. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth. Your 401k balance isn't worth what your statement says. You could lose thousands of dollars to taxes, and those distributions can impact other areas of your retirement like Social Security and Medicare. Could a Roth IRA conversion be of help to you? You've probably heard of Roth conversions, but it can be confusing. Should you convert all at once or over time? Where should you pay the taxes from? How do you know for sure? Get our free personalized Roth Blueprint analysis today to find out exactly what makes sense for you. Your Roth Blueprint could potentially increase your lifetime wealth by thousands of dollars. So get your free Roth Blueprint today. Text Blueprint to 844-867-8335. That's Blueprint to 844-867-8335. Or go to MitchLyonsWealth.com, your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement.
Huge here for the Michigan High School Athletic Association. You can stay up to date on the latest from Lansing 24/7 at MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. The latest news, press releases, and stories connected to every high school in the state of Michigan, available for you 24/7 from the Michigan High School Athletic Association. Log on to MHSAA.com, at MHSAA on Twitter, and MHSAA on Facebook. And if you're looking for archive, boys and girls, high school sports, MHSAA.TV. That's MHSAA.TV. 24/7, everything you need to know about high school sports in Michigan. Log on to MHSAA.com.
Shop Meijer and bring more good to game day with Buy 5, Save 5 deals on Watch Party fan favorites. Mix and match and save $5 when you buy 5 or more go-to party items, like select varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizzas and Late July tortilla chips. 24 packs of select Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable, and Brawny paper towels. The Buy 5, Save 5 deals at Meijer. Now that's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Football season's not over yet. You know that, right? There's still one massive game to go. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL, recognizes that more than anybody else. They know you are into it. They know your passion. They want you to make every moment feel bigger. And with DraftKings live betting options, you can stay in that moment. You can live that moment bigger. Plus, DraftKings has your back with early exit protection. If the player in your eligible NFL prop bet goes down at any point in the first half of the Super Bowl, you're going to get paid in cash. With DraftKings, you're covered through the entire first half of the Super Bowl. Why would you bet player props anywhere else? New customers, here's your perfect chance in the big game. Bet $5, and if that bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code HUGE. That code is HUGE, H-U-G-E, and turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 years or older, Michigan only. Eligibility restrictions do apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire within 7 days. For additional terms and conditions, go to dkng.com/audio for a limited time offer. Okay, second hour of the program. Here on X's and Bros throughout the state. I'm Matt Shepard. Trent Valley is with us. Surprised more people aren't engaged with the Tigers. Only 5 left-handed starting pitchers have thrown at least 350 innings with an ERA below 3.5 over the last 2 seasons. Only 5 left-handed starting pitchers have thrown at least 350 innings with an ERA below 3.5 over the last 2 seasons. The Tigers have 2 of them. Now, I'm not going to sit there and my dad used to have a great saying, raise the flag. Like you did something that you were supposed to do. You're patting yourself on the back. My dad would basically say, raise the flag. You're supposed to do it. Who cares? Move on. Okay. You want this little pat on the back because you did something you're supposed to? Think again. You're not getting it from me. So it was awesome. Or tough. But either way, I didn't wilt. 350 innings over the last 2 years. That's what Valdez and Skubal has done. The reason I'm not going to raise the flag is because the great Mickey Lolich did that in 1 year himself. In 1971, he threw 376 innings. That was just the start of 4 consecutive years in which he's thrown 300 innings or more. So take your physicality, take your, these guys couldn't do what we do today, or we could have played back then, and shove it in your ear. But it is a fact. The Tigers have 2 pitchers, 2 lefties, lefting starters, who've thrown 350 innings or more combined in the last 2 years. All right. Detroit and Framber Valdez agreed to a 3-year contract that makes him the highest paid left-handed pitcher in baseball history and the second highest paid pitcher in baseball this year on AAV, $38.3 million. Zach Wheeler makes 42. Let me ask you this question, and be honest. If you're Tarek Skubal, how do you feel? What's the emotion associated with this? If you're Tarek Skubal, you're waiting for your arbitration finale. Okay, you're waiting for the final decision anyway. Your group proposed $32 million. Your team, who drafted you in the 9th round, nurtured you through the minors, waited through 2 arm surgeries, you rewarded them with back-to-back Cy Youngs that included a Triple Crown season, offered you $19 million. Now you see a guy who signs for 38.3. How do you think Tarek Skubal feels? From a fan perspective, how do you think they feel? Silence? Silence is deafening. Okay. I think a lot of people feel like, well, he's got to be pissed. I think he's happy as hell. I think he's super joyed. I think he loves it. I think he's really excited. My team went out and showed a willingness to spend. We're going to win. If they're going to spend it on him, they're willing to spend it on me. And you know what? I think a lot of players love the fact that Framber Valdez just upped the ante for Tarek Skubal. Not like it wasn't high before. It's definitely high now. Skubal can go into any negotiation with any team in baseball when he becomes an unrestricted free agent at the end of the season and say, listen, with all due respect to Framber Valdez, who's a teammate of mine, and I enjoyed it, and we felt like we brought as much good stuff as you can possibly bring to a team, and he's a 2-time All-Star. It's great. He won a World Series, and he helped us win the division, do all these accolades, right? He never won a Triple Crown. He never won a Cy Young. I've done both in 2 of the last 3 years. So let's start with the numbers. Because before it was, it's probably starting at Zach Wheeler number, $42 million a year, somewhere in that neighborhood. But this solidifies it. Tarek Skubal's looking at this. They're so happy. 38.3 per year, for sure they're getting it. Every team would go out there and go, yeah, I get it. I get it now. When you see your own franchise willing to spend $20 million on Jack Flaherty, and even though it's Flaherty who picked up that option, I might add. Okay, it wasn't the Tigers who said, yes, we've got to have him back. That was the fans 2 years ago. Let's trade Jack Flaherty to the Dodgers and then re-sign him. My whole point was you don't always get that, number one. And number two, you don't always get the same pitcher. They haven't gotten the same pitcher. The whole belief is, oh, we'll get rid of him. He loved it here so much he'll want to come back. Look at how Chris Fetter helped him. He comes back and he leads the league in losses. His ERA skyrockets. He wasn't dependable at all. But I digress. Valdez signs for $38 million. Scooble's going double thumbs up saying, you know what? He's the highest paid lefty in the history of the game. I'm better than he is. My numbers are better than he is. Everybody knows I'm better than he is. Come on. You know damn well what you're getting. And so does he. If you wondered, would he get $40 million a year on a $400 million contract? The answer to that has been solidified, I think, with this move. Not that it wasn't already, perhaps, but when the Tigers go out and do something like that, you're damn right that that's the ammunition that Tarek Scooble's camp, if they didn't have enough already, would definitely use. So Valdez is a Tiger. Red Wings lose last night 4-1. Didn't look great in doing it. Montreal won. That means Detroit and Montreal are tied for second in the division with 72 points. I mentioned Mickey Lolich passing, the MVP of the 1968 World Series, in which the Tigers beat the Cardinals, and he threw 3 complete game victories. Yes, including the last game in which he beat Bob Gibson. Bob Gibson was the MVP of the league that year in the National League. Denny McLain was the MVP of the American League, and Denny McLain will join us at 8:35. Denny McLain, one of 25 pitchers in history to have won the Cy Young and the MVP of the league, and he won 2 Cy Youngs. So he'll join us at 8:35. Pistons are back on the floor against Washington. Washington's terrible. Cade Cunningham may not play. Pistons should be able to beat him. Could beat him with their bench, perhaps. Anthony Davis, a 10-time All-Star, was traded from Dallas to there. You talk about a pissed-off fan base. It wasn't long ago, I think it was last week, people were celebrating commemorating, not celebrating, unless you're in Los Angeles, commemorating the trade that sent Luka Doncic to the Lakers that most people feel was contrived. I mean, how in the world did the Dallas team look at just one team, the Lakers? There's a lot of people who feel like the conspiracy theorists out there are that the Lakers, the league wanted Dallas to do that. Trade him to L.A., you get something back, and we'll give you the first overall pick, and you take Cooper Flagg. And Cooper Flagg's been unbelievable. Almost 40 points a game over the last 3 games. He's been outstanding.
I saw a pretty funny stat the other day that said, I think Anthony Davis finished playing 29 games for the Mavericks total. And Luka Doncic this season alone has 29 games with 30-plus points.
Oh, my God.
For the Lakers.
Isn't that
just a nightmare? They're lucky they got Cooper Flagg, and I'm happy for them because I like him, and I think that, they can do something with him and build around him. They're just getting started there. He's going to be really good. But my God, they're lucky they fell ass backwards into that first overall pick because that was a disaster of a trade.
Yeah.
And there's a reason Nico Harrison already lost his job.
But I'm convinced that that's fixed. I'm convinced that the league saw what happened there and made sure they got the number 1 pick. They think the Dallas market's important. I know you might be shaking your head going, come on. You're right. Davis played 29 games. I'm not going to go so far as to say the league told Dallas and Nico Harrison, you trade Anthony Davis and you trade Max Christie to L.A. or to you get those guys in exchange for Luka Doncic and draft picks, and everything's going to be fine. But I do believe they rewarded Dallas. And you're right. Anthony Davis played 29 games for Dallas. That's it. And averaged, let me see what he averaged here, 20 points and 11 rebounds, which, by the way, is like Jalen Duren stuff. And he's a really good defender, but he can't stay healthy. And that was your big problem with it at the very beginning. And most people's problem is he can't stay healthy. A quick timeout. Just a reminder, Denny McLain, 8:35 here on X's and Bros. We're brought to you this hour by Meyer.
Shop Meijer and bring more good to game day with buy 5, save 5 deals on watch party fan favorites. Mix and match and save $5 when you buy 5 or more go-to party items, like select varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizzas and Late July tortilla chips. 24 packs of select Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable, and Brawny paper towels. The buy 5, save 5 deals at Meijer. Now that's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Farrah's Coffee has been family-owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Farrah's Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
Thanks for listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard on the Michigan Sports Network. You want to talk to Shep? Call us at 866-838-4843.
Huge here for the annual Grand Rapids Griffins Purple Community Game, which is coming up on Friday, March 13th at Van Andel Arena in downtown GR. It's a night dedicated to supporting research into diseases like cancer and Parkinson's at Van Andel Institute. The Griffins will be taking on the Milwaukee Admirals in special purple jerseys, and you'll have a chance to bid on a limited edition purple jersey of your own after the game. It's a night you won't want to miss. Learn more about the Grand Rapids Griffins Purple Community Game at vai.org/events and also at griffinshockey.com.
Super Bowl 60 is right around the corner, folks, and it deserves a sportsbook built for the moment. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 60, has a deal for you. Yes, DraftKings has your back with early exit. That means if a player goes down in the first half, you still get paid out in cash immediately once your bet settles. No bonus bets, no waiting. So, for example, Drake May goes down in the first half. Hope he doesn't. You want both teams healthy, but it's possible, okay? I mean, Seattle gets after the quarterback. If he goes down and you bet something on Drake May, no worries, man. You still get paid out in cash once your bet settles. If you're new to DraftKings, they've got a great deal for you, all right? New customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code HUGE, all right? If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER, 21 years or older, Michigan only. Eligibility restrictions do apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, and that will expire within 7 days. So act quickly. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.com/audio with a limited time offer. Of Drake May, full participant yesterday in practice, so that's good news because he's been slightly injured in that regard. By the way, Tom Brady came out and said he doesn't have a dog in the fight. Do you believe that?
Not for 1 second.
Not for 1 second. Not for 1 second. Mike Vrabel was a friend of his. It was a teammate of his. Helped him win championships. Come on. You play for an organization as long as he did in New England, and you have no ties to Seattle, and you're going to try to convince us I have no dog in the fight. Here's how you fix that, Tom. Don't say it. I mean, just don't acknowledge
You're
it.
so right, actually, because by saying it, you're drawing attention to it.
Correct. I don't know in what context it came, but he did say, those words, I have no dog in the fight. I don't know how it was taken, but he's got a statue outside.
Yeah, like,
Fox
come
Road.
on. Just don't say anything. Everyone knows you have a dog in the fight. That's fine. You don't need to convince us you do or don't. Just don't say anything. Give your thoughts on the game, whatever. Dance around that question however you need to.
Right.
Don't say I don't have a dog in the fight. That's a blue-faced lie.
Exactly. And everybody, you and I know the association that he has. Okay. You're going to go into the Hall of Fame on the first ballot. Huh? Maybe not, considering what happened to your
Yeah, I
coach
guess
and your
nothing's
owner.
for sure
But-
anymore.
Yeah, right. But you're going to go into the Hall of Fame. Everybody knows you as a New England Patriot. You have a statue outside, okay? You have been the guy, just because you are in the booth, and he's not even calling the game. NBC's got the game, right?
Correct.
It's Tirico and it's Chris Collinsworth. So he doesn't have the game. I don't understand why you'd have to even try to go there. And what would be wrong with him saying, yeah, I'm rooting for the Patriots? Couldn't every player understand that?
Exactly. I was
Richard
just going to
Sherman
say, I don't think anyone would have a problem with it. Like,
I really don't.
as long as he's not calling the game, no one
Right.
cares if you're rooting for the Patriots.
I suppose here could be the negative to that, Trent. Next time he's in the booth for a New England game, would people look at him and say, you are not being unbiased?
Probably, but I think people already think that. I think the people that are going to think that already think that. So therefore, you can't really fan the flames any more than they're already.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does, but let me toss that back at you for a minute. Do you think that with Troy Aikman when he calls Cowboys games?
I don't, because I think he does a good enough job professionally to leave that out of it.
Right. Do you think that with Chris Collinsworth when he calls Bengals games?
I don't think that never crosses my mind. No.
Do you think Jonathan Vilma? Oh, never mind. You turn it off. But I think Tom Brady does a good enough job too. If a guy plays and Brady didn't even play his whole career. Aikman played his whole career in Dallas. Him calling Dallas games, first of all, you like him. You've had him on shows in the past.
Yes.
So you give him the benefit of the doubt.
That's part of it. Yeah.
Okay. Should Tom Brady be given the benefit of the doubt? I think he does a good job.
Yeah.
I
And
think
let
he
me be
shows
clear.
that he's unbiased.
I'm fine with that because, and I think you agree. If you You can play for a team, you can be a fan of a team, but if you call a good game and you call an unbiased game, then that's really all I care about. I don't care. I can separate the two as a fan.
I don't disagree with you there, Trent. I really don't. But analysts have a hard time shaking loose from preconceived notions. And because you played for a team, people automatically view you. They're going to be on the lookout for you on whether or not you are being biased or unbiased.
Sure. And I'm not going to blame players or analysts for having that, implicit bias or whatever. It's just, I don't think the way to shake that bias is to come out and say you don't have a dog in the fight when it's the Super Bowl and you very clearly do have a dog in the fight. Like you said, teammate, friend is the head coach over there. Not to mention you have a great relationship with the owner still. All these things, right?
Yeah.
You've got a statue out there. You just listed them off. So it's like, I just don't, I feel like coming out and saying the obvious is almost a step backwards. Or no, denouncing the obvious, coming out and saying, I don't have a dog in the fight. Come on.
It makes, I think how it hurts him is that it makes him sound like he's turned corporate.
Yeah, that's a way to look at it.
Okay. He's doing what everybody else does. What would be wrong if he said, look, I spent the majority of my career in New England. I loved it there. I love Robert Kraft. Mike Vrabel help get me a ring. Of course, I'm going to be rooting for New England, but I really appreciate what Seattle has done. Blah, blah. The problem is somebody would take it at the end of that, and
they would clip it without context. Yeah.
Yeah. And use that as a headline. And then how does Seattle feel about that? My hope would be that a lot of players would go, look, I understand it. That doesn't mean that he's rooting against Seattle. You can root for a team without rooting against another team, or maybe that's being way too, parsing of words on my part. I don't know, but I found that interesting, and I think some of his teammates, Asante Samuel, has come out and kind of gone back at him just a little bit.
Well, it's also unique because it's Tom Brady's a handful of players in all of American sports that it would make this many waves with him saying that. If Jonathan Vilma came out and said something like that, it'd be, we'd talk about it for 30 seconds and move on. Yeah. Tom Brady is in a handful of players that this is a topic because
and football is unique.
It grabs you. Sure.
And the reason football is unique is because they're all those games are national crews. You don't get hometown TV announcers in football. You get it on radio, but you don't get it on TV. Whereas all the other three sports, major sports, they have hometown announcers doing their TV games. Basketball, of course, Greg Kelser is going to be rooting for the Pistons. Hockey, of course, Mickey Redmond's rooting for the Red Wings.
And the fans
Baseball,
love that on the broadcasts.
And the fans love that part. Well, I mean, you would think
most of them.
Yeah, most of them do. Some of them will be like, you know what? Stop kissing ass. Stop this, that, or the other thing. And that's not cool either. You've got to have a balance there. All right. There has to be a balance. You have to be willing to say, I believe, hey, listen, this team's got to be better at this. I had a huge debate once with a relief pitcher with the Tigers, and I was walking through the clubhouse like I did before every single game, just to say hi, just to talk about whatever, not necessarily baseball. And he looked at my pin that I wore, and I wore a Tigers pin when doing TV, and he said, well, why don't you have that as a baseball or a Boston Red Sox pin? And I said, what is that supposed to mean? And he said, I hear your broadcasts, and all you did was talk about Boston. And I said, well, that's because Boston won, whatever the score was. It was like 14-2. It was an ass kicking, right? I said, well, that's because they won 14-2. I said, you see, Daniel, I have two ways to look at this. I can either degrade you guys and the play that you had last night in a 14-2 loss, or talk about how good the other team was. I choose to talk about how good the other team is rather than run roughshod all over the team I'm broadcasting for and my favorite team.
Seems like a can't-win situation.
Yeah.
Can't please everybody.
Yeah, and if you can't understand that, then you need to start thinking a little bit harder about it. Anyway, it was an interesting conversation. When we come back, a conversation about the MVP. That will be announced later on today. Stafford, May, or somebody else. Your thoughts on the Meijer Hotline, 866-838-4843. This hour brought to you by Meijer.
Mitch Lyons here, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth, where we create your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. I'm here with Tiger legend Kirk Gibson, who we are proud to support and partner with on the newly opened Kirk Gibson Center for Parkinson's Wellness.
Thanks, Mitch. We appreciate your support, and we are excited to have recently opened the center in Farmington Hills. It provides exercise therapy and educational programs that are helping the Parkinson's community. Just like Mitch Lyons Wealth helps improve the quality for their clients' retirements, this center helps improve the quality of life for people with Parkinson's.
And Gibby, the best part of all is that access to the center is available to the Parkinson's community free of charge, right?
That's right, absolutely free of charge for people with Parkinson's and their care partners.
You hit a couple of the most famous home runs in Major League history, Gibby, but I feel that your greatest hit will be the positive impact the Kirk Gibson Center is making in the fight against Parkinson's.
Mitch, since my diagnosis, I get up every day and focus on winning that day. This center encourages others to do the same.
Awesome, Gibby. To learn more, go to kirkgibsoncenter.org.
Calling all of my fellow sports gamblers, the Michigan Sports Network wants you to bet responsibly on the big game, and the best way to do that is through DraftKings. X's and Bros on the Huge Show are giving away $1,000 cash to wager on the big game. All you need to do is text DK to 21,000. That's DK as in DraftKings to 21000. Make sure autocorrect doesn't bite you. Winners will be announced Friday at 5:50 p.m. on The Huge Show, so text DK to 21,000 now.
Shop Meijer and bring more good to game day with buy 5, save 5 deals on watch party fan favorites. Mix and match and save $5 when you buy 5 or more go-to party items, like select varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizzas and Late July tortilla chips. 24 packs of select Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable, and Brawny paper towels. The buy 5, save 5 deals at Meijer. Now that's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
What's up, Michigan? You're listening to my good friend Shep. The Huge Show is coming up later today at 3, right here on the Michigan Sports Network.
Yesterday, a Michigander from the West Side, Trinidad Chambliss, was told by the NCAA, I think it was reaffirmed by NCAA, that he's not getting, he's been denied his 6-year waiver. NCAA Athletics Eligibility Subcommittee denied the waiver, which was for a medical red shirt. Ole Miss has been informed. How does Carson Beck get 7 or 6, I should say? So he played at Georgia 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and then Miami. How does he get 6?
That is exactly, I'm so glad you said that, because that's exactly the question I asked, and there is no answer, Shep, which is just a microcosm of what the hell is wrong with college football and college sports right now. We don't know. There's no guidelines. There's no guardrails. We have no idea.
And in fairness to Carson Beck, he was a redshirt freshman. Okay? He redshirted after he only played 1 game in 2020. So I'm just trying to be fair here.
Yeah, so what Trinidad Chambliss is trying to do is get a redshirt exception for one of his previous seasons. I don't have his numbers in front of me, but he must have only played a couple games 1 year or something. And he's trying to get that to count as a redshirt year in hindsight.
Yeah, I can't say that for certain.
Which, by the way, I don't even necessarily agree with. I'm just saying, there seems to be zero consistency across the board with this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's like it's almost as if they make it up as they go along.
Very blurred lines, gray area, Yeah,
just don't get it. And I'll be first to admit, I mean, there's a partiality on my part. It's because of the kids from Grand Rapids and what he did at Ferris State, and I think it's a great story.
And we'd love to see him play another year in college. Yeah.
Or the NFL. I would guess he gets drafted, Trent, don't you?
Especially
don't you think he's going to get drafted?
Yeah, especially this year.
He's got a good arm. He's got good mobility. He's a little shorter. There's a lot of guys who are short. Stetson Bennett's not a big guy. He got drafted. Okay. So let's be careful here. But I was just wondering aloud when I saw that happen. It kind of, hit me. And I thought to myself, I don't understand why. I don't get that. Did you see what happened with Gavin McKenna? Do you know who Gavin McKenna is?
No.
Okay. So Gavin McKenna.
No, sorry.
Gavin McKenna's that's all right. He's the best youth hockey player. Not even youth. He's the best college hockey player in the world. He's going to be the number 1 pick in the NHL draft. All right. He plays at Penn State. Phenomenal player. Not a real big guy. But anyway, he and his teammates were out at a bar recently. I don't know exactly the date, but recently, I think it was last weekend. Anyway, his mom was with them. And the story goes, based on camera footage and eyewitness quotes, that a drunk guy came up, was badgering teammates of Penn State, and called Gavin McKenna's mom a nasty word. They went outside. McKenna dropped the guy in 2 punches and broke his jaw. Now, a criminal complaint was filed, and he's being, detained, charged, whatever. I don't know the exact words on, some type of criminal conduct. I don't know exactly what it is. Anyway, it's I don't know if it does anything to his draft stock. For some people, you may think you're sticking up for your mother. Good for you.
Yeah, he wouldn't drop for me at all, for what it's worth. I don't know how you feel about it.
I might move heaven and earth to try and get him.
I was going to say, it says more about him in a positive way to me, but
I would
each their own.
If that's the case, and there is camera footage of it, so you'll be able to figure it out. But he's like, hey, let's go outside. They go outside, and boom, boom, a combination. That dude is out.
And kind of tongue in cheek, he had the decency to take it outside. He didn't do it in the bar. He wasn't looking for attention. Hey, buddy, let's go take care of this outside. Boom, boom, done. Move on.
Yeah, move on. Well, and there's no question he had to realize what was going to happen. So there's a criminal charge against him. The charges are the result of an altercation which occurred in the 100 block of South Pugh Street in the BrO's State College on January 31st. Okay, so this is, over the weekend at about 8:45. He's been charged with violating the criminal code, felony aggravated assault, a misdemeanor, simple assault, summary harassment, summary disorderly conduct. It is alleged that the 18-year-old, McKenna, struck a 21-year-old male in the face during the altercation, resulting in facial injuries requiring corrective surgery. That is a nice way of saying he broke his jaw. Okay? He's been released on $20,000 unsecure bail. There's your police report from State College Police Department on Gavin McKenna. If he's sticking up for his mom and that dude started it,
I see nothing wrong with the situation. I'm sorry. I don't condone violence, but dude,
okay. I hate to,
it wouldn't affect my draft stock.
That's a really good question. Is that violence? Not to sound like old guy here, because I oftentimes go this route, but we literally in high school, we had rumbles. Okay, you guys against us. Back of the high school, let's fight. And it's over. If you had a problem with somebody in the hallway, hey, man, at lunch, we're going to the back of the high school. Cool. Let's go. Did that. I'm not saying that that's the way things are supposed to be handled, because these days, a guy loses a fight, a knife is pulled. Guy loses a fight, gunshots happen. So I'm not proposing that or suggesting that's how to handle it. But how is this, the inciting of violence? A drunk dude comes up, calls your mom a dirty name, and you're supposed to go, hey, man, have a good day. Just leave us alone. We don't want any trouble here.
Yeah, again, I don't understand people that are clutching their pearls about this.
What's the fine line between giving somebody a lesson and violence when you get in a fight and you knock a guy out? I don't know, man. It's like I said, if this is the way it happens, if it turns out to be that is the progression of what took place, that dude stumbles in, he starts calling his mama, and all this other stuff. What would any guy do to protect his mother? What would any guy do? Any upstanding guy? You're not buying that dude another beer. You're not saying the next round is on me, right? You're not saying, in addition to the next shot, I'm going to buy you. Let's have, you want a cheeseburger and fries with it? Let me buy you a cup of coffee to sober you up. Come on.
Yeah, no. How about I go rearrange your face outside? How about we do that?
There you go. That's what happened.
I got no problem with it. I'll be interested to see how this ages as the details.
I'll be interested to see if anybody recognizes the name and or the sport that's associated with it. I mean, the problem is there's so many people, and this is now maybe they start picking up. Look at this sensationalized report. Now we'll give hockey some attention. Now we'll give college hockey some attention.
Right.
It's crazy. Football, 2-horse race, right? Top names for the MVP. The National Football League today will announce the most valuable player for the 2025 season. Who is it? I know who's up for it. Okay, you've got Matthew Stafford up for it. You've got Drake May up for it. You've got Josh Allen up for it. You got Jackson Smith and Jigba up for it. And you've got Christian McCaffrey up for it. Right? Okay. And 3 of those guys are also up for Offensive Player of the Year. Smith and Jigba, McCaffrey, and Drake May. Who do you think wins MVP?
Stafford.
So, okay, that was a quick answer.
Yeah.
You think so? Okay.
I'm very passionate about it, too. I think he should win it easily.
Easily?
Yes.
Okay.
And I can tell you why, but we can get to that in a minute.
Yeah. So Stafford led, just to give people, because they don't always necessarily dive deep and live in that world, Stafford led the NFL in passing yards, over 4,700. He led the league in touchdowns with 46, and he led the league in touchdown interception ratio. All right. In fact, his 2025 season, just the 8th time in NFL history that a quarterback threw for at least 4,500 yards and 45 touchdowns. 6 of the previous 7 Qs who did that also won the MVP. Okay? That's impressive. During the middle of the year, Stafford threw 28 straight touchdown passes without a pick. So according to the Live Sports Bureau, that's the longest streak by any player since play-by-play was starting to be tracked in 1978. Drake May had, forget what he did in the AFC Championship game. It's about his regular season, all right? He led the NFL in completion percentage, 72%, led the NFL in QBR, led the NFL in yards per attempt, and also finished with 450 rushing yards. He's not a big rushing quarterback. He's not Josh Allen. He's not Lamar Jackson. He's not Patrick Mahomes, but he did rush for 450 yards and some touchdowns. I don't know exactly how many. All right. So he actually, by leading the league in QBR by a healthy margin, I might add, Stafford was in fourth place in that regard. That is oftentimes used as a very big statistic and separator from others. Okay. Is he, some people think he's the winner and clearly the winner. Just as Trent said, he thinks Stafford. Many other people think the exact same thing with May. Here's another one. Sack avoidance. I know this is deep. You talked about analytics earlier. Sack avoidance. Stafford, a 3.7% sack rate, ranked third in the NFL. May, 7.8%. That was 21st. So sure, the offensive line plays a role in that. And isn't that interesting?
Yes.
That you have a quarterback who usually stays on his spot, Trent, in Matthew Stafford, got sacked at a 3.7% rate. What does that tell you? So offensive line is still pretty good, number one, but also he gets rid of the football.
Gets it out. Yep.
Yeah.
That's part of it, and that has to factor in.
I would hope so. And Drake May at 7.8%, ranked 21st, maybe holds the ball too long, or maybe keeps the play alive by moving to his right or to his left and then gets tracked down. So we'll see.
I think
what
it's
happens
more of
in
the
that.
latter. I think you're right. He's trying to make something out of nothing, and then he goes down. But I don't know. I'm curious your thoughts on this too, Shep. For me, it's very simple. Stafford, I think, had the better statistical year as a whole. And a lot of the stuff is splitting hairs, but Stafford had 15 more touchdowns. That's a lot. 15 more touchdowns. That's at least 4 or 5 games worth more offensive production in terms of scoring than Drake May had. And another thing I look at, Shep, because Drake May fumbled 4 times in that the Texans playoff game, if you recall.
Yeah. But
he
this
didn't
is a
lose
regular
all of them.
season award.
Yes,
Yeah,
but so that got me thinking, though. So I went back and looked at the regular season statistics with that. Drake May fumbled 14 times and lost 6 of them in the regular season. Stafford only fumbled 7 times, lost 3 of them. Now, is that
That's
huge
good.
deal? Of course
That's
not.
good
But
intel.
when you're trying to pick 2 guys who put up great numbers all year, you have to look at that. They each threw 8 picks.
You have to decipher, right? I mean, the difference between the 2 players or any 2 players for any award is going to come down to something. So the deeper you dig, and you're going to give credit to Stafford on certain stats, like we showed you, certain stats that favor May.
Right.
If you see there's a little bit of a balance, then you got to find something else in addition to those. It can't be just 4 categories. He's got 2. He's got 2. It's not a game of tennis, right? So
Yes.
you come to what else is there associated with it. The fumbles is a really good one.
And it's a
Drake
spot on
May
1-to-2 ratio. It's 7 fumbles for Stafford, 14 for Drake May. 3 lost fumbles for Stafford, 6 lost fumbles for Drake
I look
May.
at how many you've lost, perhaps more than the fumbles in general. But yeah, I mean, there you go. Let me ask you this, because this is from DraftKings. There you go. The odds. Okay. Since week 11, Stafford was a minus 360 going into week 17. May was a minus 295 going into week 18. Stafford then reclaimed the favorite status, closing with a minus 195, May a plus 160. That's according to DraftKings.
Yeah.
Explain that for folks out there. What does that mean?
Well, so if it's negative odds, that means that it's more likely. Plus money,
More likely to happen.
Yes, if Drake
That's
May's
why.
up,
So 160 for Stafford means he's the heavy favorite compared to, or the minus 195 for Stafford to May the plus 160.
yes, and the plus 160 means you're probably winning 1.5 times what you put down. So there's value there, which means it's less likely to happen. They're trying to get you to take that because it's probably not going to happen. That's what they're saying. Stafford is probably going to win this thing, and I'll be happy when he does.
Well, that's
not sure how you feel, but
it's kind of how I feel. But I can tell you this from a national perspective, based on the various websites. So I'll give you a quick one. CBS Sports, they've got football writers. MVP Drake May got 7 of the 12 votes over Stafford. Myles Garrett got all 12. Offensive Player of the Year, Jackson Smith and Jigga got 9 of the 12. Defensive Rookie, Carson Swessinger got 9 of the 12. Offensive Rookie, Tat McMillan got 10 of the 12. Comeback Player of the Year, Christian McCaffrey got 8 of the 12. Aiden Hutchinson was second. ESPN. I mean, I looked at a bunch of websites, and we only got time for this one here. But of the 11 voters for the MVP, 8 of them went with Drake May. Now, here's the other thing. I wonder. Are they looking at, and I think it's fair to ask this, are they looking at the competition?
That is one major thing we haven't brought up yet that has to be part of the conversation. Stafford played in the best division in football, didn't win it, but won 12 games in the best division in football. Who's, division winner, is now in the Super Bowl against Drake May. And the Patriots, what was the narrative all season, Shep? They have one of the weakest schedules we've ever seen. One of them.
Yes. Mm-hmm. The other thing that I think is important to note, because you brought up fumbles, and I don't know how many for Drake May are on runs. Okay, I can't get that specific. But I can tell you this. Drake May threw 492 times. Matthew Stafford threw 100 more times than he did. Actually, 105 to be exact. Now, so of course, he's going to get the opportunity to throw more touchdowns and throw more yards. But that means you also have the opportunity to throw more picks.
Exactly.
And fumble the ball more. And he threw the same amount of picks and fumbled less.
That's why I went to fumbles, because the interceptions are
if you're a voter and saying it's Drake May, and you're going to take away from him because, well, he's had more chances to throw the ball, well, then you at least have to acknowledge that those things, and Tom Brady said this all the time, there are 3 things that happen when you throw the ball. 2 of them are bad. So Stafford could have easily done one of those more often than what Drake May did, and yet he didn't. So that's just kind of where I'm at. I would vote for Stafford, but it wouldn't surprise me tonight, based on a lot of the things that I've been reading, if Drake May wins it. Denny McClain's going to join us 8:35. We're going to talk about Mickey Lolich. The Tiger great has died at the age of 85. We get some of your texts, the phone calls, hopefully. The Meijer hotline always open, 866-838-4843. When we return for the final hour of X's and Bros, this hour has been brought to you by Meijer.
Shop Meijer and bring more good to game day with buy 5, save 5 deals on watch party fan favorites. Mix and match and save $5 when you buy 5 or more go-to party items, like select varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizzas and Late July tortilla chips. 24 packs of select Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable, and Brawny paper towels. The buy 5, save 5 deals at Meijer. Now that's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Football season's not over yet. You know that, right? There's still one massive game to go. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL, recognizes that more than anybody else. They know you are into it. They know your passion. They want you to make every moment feel bigger. And with DraftKings live betting options, you can stay in that moment. You can live that moment bigger. Plus, DraftKings has your back with early exit protection. If the player in your eligible NFL prop bet goes down at any point in the first half of the Super Bowl, you're going to get paid in cash. With DraftKings, you're covered through the entire first half of the Super Bowl. Why would you bet player props anywhere else? New customers, here's your perfect chance in the big game. Bet $5, and if that bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code HUGE. That code is HUGE, H-U-G-E, and turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 years or older, Michigan only. Eligibility restrictions do apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire within 7 days. For additional terms and conditions, go to dkng.com/audio for a limited time offer.
The Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation is dedicated to providing support to families and Michigan schools touched by autism. We invite you to join us in supporting these families and schools by making a donation at freddythepizzaman.com. With your donation, you can help provide essential resources that can make a real impact. Visit freddythepizzaman.com to make a donation and to learn more about the foundation's mission. That's FREDI thepizzaman.com. Together, we can make a difference.
You're listening to X's and Bros with Matt Shepard on the Michigan Sports Network. We'll be right back after this break, but while you're waiting, be sure to vote on our daily poll question presented by MitchLyonsWealth.com at XB Mornings on X.
Farrah's Coffee has been family-owned and operated for over 100 years. Its popular Den Blend and Dark Roast is more than coffee and more than the official coffee of the Detroit Lions. It's a call to rise. Farrah's Coffee and the Lions are the perfect match. They embrace those who show up early, cheer loud, and never back down. Den Blend is perfectly roasted in Grand Rapids and provides the ultimate fuel for fans who wake up and roar. Whether you're tailgating at the game or cheering from your couch, Den Blend is your go-to coffee for your game day ritual.
Huge here with an invitation for everybody to join the Grand Rapids Griffins and Van Andel Institute for the Purple Community Game, which is coming up on March 13th in downtown Grand Rapids. It's a night dedicated to supporting research into diseases like cancer and Parkinson's at Van Andel Institute. And you'll have a chance to bid on limited edition Purple Griffins jerseys. You can learn more at vai.org/events.
Here we go, folks. Super Bowl 60. It's right around the corner. Can't wait for Sunday. Not halftime, but looking forward to the Super Bowl. It deserves a sports book built for the moment. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 60, is there for you. They have your back. They've got a program called the Early Exit. What does it mean? Here's what it means. If a player goes down in the first half of the game, you still get paid out in cash immediately once your bet settles. No bonus bets, no waiting. And if you're new to DraftKings, they've got another good deal for you. You can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code HUGE and turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER, 21 years or older, Michigan only. Eligibility and restrictions do apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.com/audio. This, folks, is a limited time offer. Okay, back with you here on X's and Bros. The Red Wings and Spartans may have gotten a bit of a break last night. I know, you're probably going, what are you talking about? Well, here's what people are talking about today. They're talking about Framber Valdez signing a 3-year, $115 million deal with the Tigers. And they're also talking about the passing of Mickey Lolich, unfortunately. And we will do that with Denny McLean at 8:35. Red Wings lose last night 4-1 in Utah. Didn't look good. Nick Schmaltz.
Ugly.
Clayton Keller each had a goal and assist. The Mammoth have actually played really well. They've won 8 of their last 10 at home. The big concern, too, for any hockey fan, there's not that many out there, at least who are willing to call in and talk hockey, is that Detroit's played 58 games. And you're probably going, so? Well, the 58 games are more than any team in the Eastern Conference. I don't think they're catching Tampa. They're only 4 points back at Tampa, so it really shouldn't be. But Tampa has 4 games in hand, and they're really good. Won 4 in a row, unbeaten in 9 of 10. They're really, really good. You look at the goals for, they have 20 more goals than the Red Wings do in 4 fewer games. Let that settle for just a moment. Montreal won last night. They're tied with the Wings with 72 points, 4 points back of Tampa. They have a game in hand against the Red Wings. Buffalo is just 2 points back of Detroit. They have 2 games in hand against the Red Wings. When we talk about, needing to win or needing to keep pace, it's even more accentuated with the Red Wings because of how many games they've played and where they stand right now. Hell, you could look at Carolina for the Eastern Conference in general, because whoever gets the 1 seed, Carolina or Tampa, both with 76 points right now, Carolina has 2 games in hand on Detroit, and Tampa's got 2 games in hand on them. So just something for you to think of. 4-1 loss to Utah last night. Did not look good doing it, and might come back to burn them a little bit down the stretch. Think about it. You're coming off your best win of the season, a 2-0 blanking of Colorado. Nobody shut out Colorado this year. Colorado had only lost 2 games in regulation at home this season. You handed them third.
That's insane.
It is insane.
That's insane.
And you handed them their 3rd home loss in regulation this year. You're the first team to shut them out. And you follow that up after a day off with a turd at Utah. Yes. Now, again, I don't think a lot of people are going to be talking about this, because you're going to be focused on the Tigers. You're going to be focused on the Pistons. You're going to be focused on what's going on in the Super Bowl. That's where we go. We don't go to hockey. You don't do that. Everybody's wrapped up. Oh, Pistons are playing Washington tonight. More people will talk about the Pistons playing Washington tonight than the Red Wings losing an opportunity in Utah last night.
I do have a really good friend, Shep, who follows the Wings religiously, and his whole take on last night was, going into the game, he said this before the game, he said, this feels like if the Wings lose this game, coming off that high in Colorado, he said, this is the same old Wings if they lose this game. And I told him, he would kind of said it tongue-in-cheek, exaggerating a little bit. But he said that would be a hell of a letdown, and it was.
Yeah, he's right. He's right in the letdown. I'm not going
Same old Wings.
Same old Wings. I
don't think he is either. He just kind of was like, well, it would be very Red Wings of them to, go beat a team that's been a house of horrors for you for the last decade, a team that's very, very good, and then lose to the Mammoth.
6 more wins. 6 more wins for Detroit, and they're going to get at least 6, right? 6 more wins for Detroit, and they matched last year. They're well ahead of that pace. But to your buddy's point, if you're a believer in goal differential, if you're a believer in point differential, if you're a believer in run differential, I am. I'm one of those guys.
Yeah, not good last night.
I'm not saying it's the only one. No, not good this year. They're -1 in scoring differential. Tampa's a +54. Carolina's a +32.
But last night put them at that point is what I'm saying. Not that it was good beforehand, but you get what I'm saying. Last night put them in the red. So
it did. It's a good way to put it. That put them in the red. I mean, hell, you got teams in the Metro that are out of the playoff spot, like Columbus, who's won 7 in a row. They're only a +2. So I'm not saying it is the determining factor on whether or not you make the playoffs, but it is one of those factors. So they get a break because everyone's talking about Framber Valdez and probably starting to preview the Super Bowl. Michigan State gets a bit of a break, only from this sense that I don't know how many people are going to be talking about that either. They should be pissed off. They have every right to be pissed off. You lost to Minnesota 76-73. You had guys who did not play the way Michigan State basketball players play, period. Don't cover it. You can be pissed off about whatever team you love. The reason you're pissed off about them is because you love them and because you think they're better than that. Tom Izzo can get upset at his guys, so can you. Now, you have to be realistic because you never thought they were going to go undefeated, right? And you have to be realistic. 19-3 is pretty damn good. Realistic. 9-3 in conference play is pretty damn good. 19-4 overall. I'm sorry. 9-3 in conference play, still pretty damn good. You shouldn't lose to Minnesota. That's ridiculous. You shouldn't even need, and the final score is really kind of misleading. You needed to go on a 20-8 run over the final 3 and change, almost 4 minutes, 350 something, to make it that close. Where was that earlier in the game? You're watching this game. Now, Minnesota shot out of their you-know-what. They're not a good three-point shooting team, and somehow they made it. But this team did not look like a Michigan State team. I don't care about the Michigan game. Look, that was a good game. It was back and forth. They went on a cold shooting night. How many times have we seen that with all teams? Illinois' done it. Michigan's done it. Purdue's done it.
Yeah, it happens.
It happens, okay? Maybe Arizona's the only team that it hasn't happened to, or Miami. But you're going to go through cold shooting nights. They came back. They actually took the lead. Then they struggled down the stretch. They lost to a good basketball team. Michigan's really good. You know what you have to do? You have to regroup and forget it. You can't let that game beat you in another one. Michigan State has prided themselves in the history of that program under Tom Izzo, and even before that, under Judd Heathcote. I'm not sure about Gus Ganakis, but I do know the last 2 coaches, that didn't happen. We're not going to let one game beat us the second game. Until last night. They looked awful. And it's inexcusable. There's no way you should lose to Minnesota in a game like that. So they get a bit of a break there. Gophers are 11-12, 4-8 in Big Ten play. And the break is the fact that, again, more people are talking about Framber Valdez than anything else. And the fact that Mickey Lolich, unfortunately, has passed. One of the best left-handed pitchers of his era and in Tigers lore, who, ironically enough, wore 29, dies. The current guy who wears 29 will find out about his arbitration case later today. Mitch Lyons Wealth poll question. Here you go. How do you look at the Framber Valdez signing? Still need a bat? Scott Harris redeems himself in the offseason. He was signed in case they lose Skubal. Why give Valdez all that cash and not Skubal? Vote as often as you want at XB Mornings. The decisions come your way tomorrow. Denny McClain at 8:35. Final results of the poll question from yesterday and the Daily Wager when we come back, brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
It's time to go on the court.
DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today and use code HUGE for a special offer when you sign up. That's code HUGE only at DraftKings Sportsbook. This is Ed Kingerski. Michigan freshman guard Trey McKinney is averaging 10 points per game. He's the team's top scoring threat off the bench and one of 5 Wolverines averaging in double figures. Last year's Michigan Mr. Basketball, McKinney has brought a confidence, demeanor, and skill set that belies his age. He's second on the team in three-pointers and is an 88% free throw shooter. Trey has increasingly found himself in games during critical moments. Head coach Dusty May says it's because McKinney's defense is on par with his offense, something he claims is incredibly rare for a freshman. The intangibles the Flint native brings will be indispensable down the stretch.
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu.
The Michigan Sports Network is your exclusive home for X's and Bros with Matt Shepard and The Huge Show later today at 3 p.m.
Mitch Lyons here, founder of Mitch Lyons Wealth, where we create your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. I'm here with Tiger legend Kirk Gibson, who we are proud to support and partner with on the newly opened Kirk Gibson Center for Parkinson's Wellness.
Thanks, Mitch. We appreciate your support, and we are excited to have recently opened the center in Farmington Hills. It provides exercise therapy and educational programs that are helping the Parkinson's community, just like Mitch Lyons Wealth helps improve the quality for their clients' retirements. This center helps improve the quality of life for people with Parkinson's.
And Gibby, the best part of all is that access to the center is available to the Parkinson's community free of charge, right?
That's right, absolutely free of charge for people with Parkinson's and their care partners.
You hit a couple of the most famous home runs in Major League history, Gibby, but I feel that your greatest hit will be the positive impact the Kirk Gibson Center is making in the fight against Parkinson's.
Mitch, since my diagnosis, I get up every day and focus on winning that day. This center encourages others to do the same.
Awesome, Gibby. To learn more, go to kirkgibsoncenter.org.
We are all fired up for Super Bowl 60 on Sunday. No one's more pumped than DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 60, because they want to put you right in the middle of it. They want to make sure you go away happy after the game, no matter who wins. They've got the early exit plan for you. That means if somebody you bet on in the first half gets hurt, you still get paid out in cash immediately once your bet settles. No bonus bets, no waiting, just the right way to handle things with you, the participant. New to DraftKings, new customers can bet just $5 and you'll get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. That's a hell of a deal. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use the code HUGE and turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. This is in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. Eligibility and restrictions do apply. And if someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 years or older, Michigan only. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.com/audio. This is a limited time offer. Let's get to a text on the text line, Sports Radio 21,000. Trent, fire away.
This one just says, regarding our discussion about Brady and his not having a dog in the fight, this one says, Gus Johnson is national. He's clearly a U of M fan. What are your thoughts?
Well, he didn't go to U of M. He sounds like he's energized by Michigan's success. How's that? You could say the same thing with Joel Klatt. I think a lot of people outside of the University of Michigan say the same thing. Can I just add this? And I've worked with Gus and I get along with him just fine. If he's such a Michigan fan, why did he sign his play-by-play chart and hand it to one of the Ohio State running backs? I forget who it was, after a Big Ten championship game.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this is probably referring to the fact that he spoke to the team before the Michigan State hoops game last week. I took issue with that, by the way.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he did. He spoke to the team before the game.
Why would you do that?
I don't know. I think that's probably what this texter's referring to. I'd be willing to bet.
Okay, well, if the texter is referring to that, then bully for him, and you're right. I think that's ridiculous. Yeah. I think that's unprofessional.
It is.
Okay? If you're about to call a game and the biggest game on the schedule for both teams, and you're going to show that type of bias, that is wrong.
It's just flat. It's a conflict of interest, flatly. If you're going to do it to both teams, that's one thing. If you're going to go talk to both teams, that's one thing. But to just go to the
things here. First and foremost, A, why would he do that? B, why would Michigan want him to do that? What is it that Gus Johnson has accomplished in his basketball career that inspires young 20-year-olds? That makes no sense to me whatsoever.
None of it makes sense to me.
Now, if you want to go talk to kids in grade school, kids in high school, absolutely.
Kids in journalism school, in college.
I wonder if Gus asked for that or Michigan asked for that. And either way, if I'm Michigan, I shouldn't be asking the play-by-play voice of this game to talk to my team. My coaches should be able to rile my team up enough. Past players who played in that uniform should be able to make that type of impact. To me, it's ridiculous. If it's Gus Johnson who asked for it, I'm Michigan, and I say, Gus, thank you. We appreciate it. We love you as a broadcaster. You have some epic calls, but we're going to pass. I don't get it. This is the first I've heard of it, Trent. Why did we not talk about that after the game? That's surprising to me. And I think just borderline unprofessional. I just don't think you do that as a play-by-play voice. I don't think an analyst should be doing that. He did that game with Jimmy Jackson. Jimmy Jackson shouldn't go into either one of those teams' locker rooms and talk to them. Did he talk to him at shoot around? I mean, when was this? Because usually when you do a TV game, you go to shoot around.
Yeah, I can do some digging on it. I just saw it before the game, and I, moved on because the game was coming up in about a couple hours. But you really do yourself no favors when stuff like that comes out.
Agreed.
Even if you're not doing it in a look at me way, even if you have the best intentions, it does you no favors.
That is nothing but a look at me situation. if you're a Michigan State fan or you're an Ohio State fan, but especially in this case, a Michigan State fan, how do you view the person who does that now moving forward?
Well, you're going to hate any time they call your game. You're going to go into it thinking that they have an implicit bias against your team.
So you don't look at it anytime he calls a game. You just look at just your team, just your game.
I would like to. Yeah,
if he did that, if he was calling Central Western, and he went in and talked to Western, and they came out and thumped it, I don't think I could support that play-by-play voice or that analyst anytime he called a game. Period.
And that's probably the ethical way to look at it. I was going to say I'll give the guy the benefit of the doubt. I don't care. I'm a huge sports fan, so I'll move on. I'll get over it. But anytime he's calling my team's game, I'm going to go into that game thinking this is going to be a painful listen and a painful watch.
Trent, I'm surprised. I didn't see anything on that on social media. Nothing. I'm completely out to lunch on that.
I mean, if you just search Gus Johnson, Michigan on X, I'm sure you'll find it. That's what I'm looking at right
I would
now.
remind you when, let's see, it was about 6 years ago, Michigan was getting ready to play Ohio State Thanksgiving weekend. Fox had the game. Fox had the Lions game. And, of course, local Fox affiliate, or Fox Sports Detroit, had the high school state championships. As part of the promotion, Gus came out and did a big deal on football weekend, okay, in the state. And he went to the University of Michigan, and he gushed over being at Schembechler Hall, being a Michigan fan, and all that other stuff. And I remember talking to some people there. I said, look, it's a really good promo for Michigan. I'm a little surprised that a national voice is willing to do this and put himself in that position, considering the number of people who are going to be watching this game and perhaps, just perhaps, see what he's doing here. Surprised me, but didn't matter. I mean, he got away with it. It doesn't matter. People still love him. So that's what you can do when you get to that status. Let's look at the status of the final results of the poll question from yesterday. Here's what we asked you. We asked you, grade the Pistons trade for Kevin Huerter and Dario Saric, A, B, C, or D. How did they do?
39% won the poll with a C grade. 34% said B. 23% said D, and only 4% said A. So I guess, B and C got the bulk of it.
Yeah.
So they're like,
C+?
it's all right.
Yes. Yeah, I think we said C+.
Yeah.
Poll question today, for Mitch Lanswell poll question. How do you look at the Framber Valdez signing? They still need a bat. Scott Harris redeems himself. He was signed in case they lose Scooble. Why would you give him the cash and not Scooble? You can vote as often as you want at XB Mornings or at Shep Matt, and we'll give it the results tomorrow. How did the Daily Wager do last night?
After we started this
Eagle Casino.
After we started this week 1-0, it has just been frustrating because I took the Wings on the puck line. They didn't even have to win. They just could have lost by a goal. And, they got smacked around. So that didn't work out. But tonight, the Pistons are 14.5-point favorites against a horrible Wizards team. They did just trade for Trae Young and Anthony Davis, but neither one of those guys are playing tonight. Give me the Pistons minus 14.5. I think they're due for a smack somebody around game, stuff somebody in a locker, right? They're not playing on a back-to-back. They're rested. I think the Pistons roll tonight.
Yeah, Washington's awful. Even if Detroit plays without Cade Cunningham, which could be questionable because of the hand problem again, or the wrist problem, then I still think they take care of business, and it won't be a surprise.
And Kevin Huerter was at practice, by the way, yesterday, so he could play tonight. Could be limited, but you could get your first look at him.
All eyes on him, for sure. When we come back, all ears on Denny McClain. His thoughts on the great Mickey Lolich, who passed yesterday at the age of 85. Denny McClain, the former MVP and two-time Cy Young Award winner, joins X's and Bros after this, brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort.
Shop Meijer and bring more good to game day with buy 5, save 5 deals on watch party fan favorites. Mix and match and save $5 when you buy 5 or more go-to party items, like select varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizzas and Late July tortilla chips. 24 packs of select Pepsi products, plus deposit where applicable, and Brawny paper towels. The buy 5, save 5 deals at Meijer. Now that's the good life, a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in the Meijer app.
Football season's not over yet. You know that, right? There's still one massive game to go. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL, recognizes that more than anybody else. They know you are into it. They know your passion. They want you to make every moment feel bigger. And with DraftKings live betting options, you can stay in that moment. You can live that moment bigger. Plus, DraftKings has your back with early exit protection. If the player in your eligible NFL prop bet goes down at any point in the first half of the Super Bowl, you're going to get paid in cash. With DraftKings, you're covered through the entire first half of the Super Bowl. Why would you bet player props anywhere else? New customers, here's your perfect chance in the big game. Bet $5, and if that bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code HUGE. That code is HUGE, H-U-G-E, and turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 years or older, Michigan only. Eligibility restrictions do apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire within 7 days. For additional terms and conditions, go to dkng.com/audio for a limited time offer.
Calling all of my fellow sports gamblers, the Michigan Sports Network wants you to bet responsibly on the big game, and the best way to do that is through DraftKings. X's and Bros on the Huge Show are giving away $1,000 cash to wager on the big game. All you need to do is text DK to 21,000. That's DK as in DraftKings to 21000. Make sure autocorrect doesn't bite you. Winners will be announced Friday at 5:50 p.m. on The Huge Show, so text DK to 21,000 now.
Make sure you listen weekly to our Moving Ferris Forward interviews with Ferris President Bill Pink and other leaders who are moving Ferris forward. Find out more about Big Rapids and Ferris and what they have to offer at ferris.edu.
35 after the hour. Welcome back throughout the great state of Michigan. We are on throughout the state. We are on, of course, in Flint and Cadillac and Grand Rapids and Kalamazoo and Holland. We're on in Petoskey and Charlevoix and Traverse City and Lansing as well. Welcome on this Tullymore Thursday, brought to you by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. I oftentimes talk about the great players of the past in baseball. I love looking back at how dominant they truly were. Denny McLain is a name we bring up constantly, not just because he was the last 30-game winner, but because he was a workhorse. He was an MVP and a two-time Cy Young Award winner. But he also lost a friend yesterday, and we appreciate him taking some time out of his morning to talk about the great Mickey Lolich. Denny, good morning. I know you injured your hip recently, so it's a tough day for you emotionally and physically. Thanks for the time. Your relationship with Mickey Lolich, first and foremost, what was it like having two guys like you and he pitching in the same era and battling for supremacy?
You're absolutely right. One of us wanted to be number one, and it was a very friendly battle. It started in spring training every year. And then during the season, though, as the season wore on, a little bit of that would just rub off and, it would disappear and you'd get into the season, especially in the 68. I mean, because Mickey started off so bad in 68. And, God, without him at the end of the season, we'd have been in trouble. And but we had this cooperating relationship, and all we wanted to do was that one of us wanted to be number one. And we used to, even despite the fact that we wanted to be, we'd still show each other how to do something with Mickey's famous thing with me was his spitball. We had a pitcher on the ball club, and Terry Fox, who had a great spitball. And he showed me how to throw one. And the first one I ever threw, it went about 14 miles. And I was lucky enough to win the ball game. So Lolich come back to me the next day, and he said, "Listen," he said, "you didn't throw that right." I said, "No kidding. It only went 14 miles." He said, "Well, maybe they would go further the next time." So he showed me how he threw his spitball. By the way, up until that moment, I never knew he threw one. So he wet it up, and I mean, it was almost a thunderstorm in my hand. And lo and behold, I let the next one go in batting practice, and K-Line was the hitter. And you know what K-Line did to it? He hit it over the center field wall too. So I gave up that pitch. But that's the kind of relationship we had. We played racquetball together. We played tennis together. I mean, I got fined because I was on the back of his motorcycle a couple of spring trainings in a row. Jim Campbell caught me on the back of the bike, and Mickey was a prolific motorcycle guy, and I wasn't. I was scared to death of the ding-dang things. And when Campbell caught me, fined me $100 every time he caught me. So, but, that's the way it was back then.
$100 was a lot of money back then. I mean, you won 31 games. You were the best pitcher in the world in 1968, and yet, according to Baseball Reference, you made just $33,000 that year. How much would you and Mickey Lolich make in today's game?
Well, I would certainly think we'd be somewhere around 20 each, if not more. I mean, because we never missed a turn. I mean, this new stuff. Oh, you only got to pitch 5 innings. You don't even have to break a sweat if you do it well. You don't have to take a shower if you do it well. But that's what I don't understand. And believe me, they deserve the money. I mean, they kept it from us. They kept it from the guys that started this game of baseball 100 years ago. So everything goes full circle. I wish we were still part of the circle, although I don't think there's a player today that's still walking around who played the game who doesn't get a solid, safe pension. And so that really helps all of us as we reach our older years.
Yeah, 41 starts, 28 complete games, and 31 wins for Denny McLain in 1968. Mickey Lolich in 1968 did something that no pitcher has ever done, and nor do I think they will ever do again. And that's start 3 World Series games, finish 3 World Series games, and win 3 World Series games. What do you remember about the game?
And by the way, I'll tell you a quick story. When we had heard that Gibson was so good, and he was. In the one ball game that he pitched, the first game, he was the best I ever saw for a little less than 2 hours. He was unbelievable. everything he threw was moving 6, 8, 9 inches. Every breaking ball he threw started at every hitter, and if you take a look at the old video, you'll see that the number of hitters that backed out of the box and the pitches were strikes. It was unbelievable. I mean, we had never seen that kind of stuff. And after the ball game, somebody said, I think it was Cash, because Cash had all the great one-liners. He says that pumpkin can't beat us twice in a row, and certainly not 3 times. So Cash was right, and which normally he was right all the time. But it was so awesome. But when we talked about that first game, I told Lolich, I said, listen, if he's that good, why don't you start the first game? I said, I'll take the second game. I said, because this guy, if he's this good, I said, my Lord, this is going to be something. And he was, what he struck out 17. Bob and I became really good friends the last 5 or 6 years of his life. And he was just one of those guys that it took a long time to get to know him. And that was an extraordinary amount of time, by the way. But and I'll tell you this, it was always amazing to me that when we had some relationships with the St. Louis Cardinals from '68, that both clubs would show up with as many people as they could. I thought that was a great deal of respect for both clubs at that time.
How surprised were you and your teammates that Lolich kept going in Game 7? Because he told me the story about how Mayo Smith said, I need you to start, and that every inning he would go to Lolich and say, I need one more out of you, one more, until at some point Lolich said, okay, you're not taking me out. This is my game. Game 7.
Well, I was standing there with him, and when he first talked to him about it, and he said, because I had pitched the day before the 6th game, and Mayo looked at me and says, can you, first of all, he grabbed me and said, do you want to pitch 1 inning? I said, well, I will. I said, but I don't know if I got much left, but I will. And I said, geez, Mickey's okay. He's throwing the hell out of the ball. And so he went back to Mickey, and Mickey said, you're not going to take me out of the game. He said, this is it. This is my game. And, and he certainly did. That was out of the 3 games that he pitched, by the way, that was the best game he pitched. I mean, he had absolute pinpoint control that day. I mean, I forget how many guys he walked, maybe 1, maybe 2, but he was just overwhelming. And not with a fastball, but there's a certain speed for a pitcher, and he knew what it was. I knew what it was. That if you could control that speed, a certain speed, you could make your fastball move even more and more and more. And Mickey had learned how to do that, I think, the year or 2 earlier with Johnny Sain, who was the greatest pitching coach in the history of the game. And Johnny showed us some of the little secrets that he pitched with. That, as you may recall, it was Spain and Sain in a day of rain. And him and Warren Spahn had to be just unbelievable people. But Mickey, listen, he arose. He rose to the occasion. And the Cardinals and Cash, number one, Cash was right. Can't beat us 3 times or 4 times. And Cash was always right when it came to predicting something. But Mickey knew that he was going to win the 7th game. I mean, he knew he had that look on his face. And Mickey was not a quiet guy in the clubhouse. Seldom was he really quiet. And this 7th game of the World Series, I don't think he said 7 words the entire game.
People forget. I mean, Detroit was down 3-2. Denny McLain wins Game 6. He goes a full game, gives up just 1 run in a 13-1 rout. And that set the stage for Game 7. Without your performance in Game 6, we don't see a Game 7. And then, of course, as we have already discussed, Mickey Lolich, 9 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, and beats Bob Gibson, as you mentioned. So that 68 World Series team was special. And it meant so much, Denny, to this city in general. What do you think what was the impact?
It really did. It really did. Somehow Campbell, who was both a good guy and a bad guy, got us all in the circle one day and started talking to us about the character of the city, how we should jump into the city and how we should try to promote the character of the city and things like that. And it worked. I mean, the next year, starting before spring training, Campbell had us going to all the schools. I mean, one of us were going to a school every day, or 2 or 3 or 4 of us, and the hospitals and schools, high schools, colleges. I mean, we did them all. And I think that had a lot to do with it. And then before we went to spring training, he had us go out state. You remember when they used to do the Tiger Tour before spring training every year?
Yeah.
Well, that's when he started that stuff. And that worked also because his ticket sales went up. And, you know, we were dummies, to be honest with you, Matt, because we didn't realize not only did he have us out there promoting the Detroit Tigers, but he's selling tickets like they were going out of style.
Yeah. Why is it you could throw 220, 264, 235, 336, 325, 216. Lolich throws 300 or more 4 straight years, excuse me. You guys are making over 40 starts and you're completing 28 games plus. Why could you guys do that then? What is it they're doing differently today, maybe in the offseason, than what you guys did in your off seasons to keep your arms healthy and strong?
Well, I think it's this simple. They don't pitch enough. They do not go out there and pitch enough. We used to, when we were working on something, we would go out and we would work every day for, 25, 30, 35 minutes. Now, we didn't go out there and let it go all the time, but if we were trying to develop something with a new slider or trying to make it do something else, we would work on it and work on it, work on the spin and work on the spin and work on the spin. But we always had a guy standing next to us, like the pitching coach, like Sane, and he would make sure we didn't do anything stupid to our arms. But the biggest thing was we pitched almost every day. And I'll give you my schedule every 4th day. When I pitch on a Monday, whether you won or lost, you pitched on a Monday. Tuesday, I would go out and I would throw for about 10 minutes. That's all, just 10 minutes, but I would throw from the mound. The second day, I would get up and bring the ball to about 80% of what my velocity was. And then the day before I started, I would bring it all the way back for about 5 minutes and let it all hang out. So that's what we did. And we did that year around. I mean, even during the winter, a lot of us used to throw. I mean, we never realized how much we knew we weren't hurting ourselves by doing that, but we didn't realize how much value there was in it. And here's the biggest problem with the kids today. They don't know how to pitch. I think the clock, I don't have any real problems with the clock, but I think they got to give them a few more seconds, another 5 or 6, 7, maybe 10 seconds, because pitchers are not really good thinkers when they're in trouble. I'm not kidding. And so, I mean, I think they got to give them a little bit more time, but they also got to throw more and more and more, and they don't have to throw sliders. They've lost the idea of everybody who's got a son out there or a daughter in today's society. They know one thing: throw the first pitch fastball for a strike. Yeah. Folks, I promise you'll win 20. I promise you will win 20. And if you don't win 20, that means the other guy was a little bit better than you were.
Did you call your own pitches? Did you call? I think a lot of it has to do with who's calling pitches. Did you call your own?
Yeah, I mean, after Bill and I pitched to each other for a couple, 2-3 years, I mean, we did everything together. I mean, there was a seldom time that I did not go along with what he was calling. Yeah. The only time that I recall was in the All-Star game in '66, and the first hitter of the ball game was Willie Mays. And everybody in the clubhouse said, listen, Mays is going to hit first. You let him hit the ball. People are there. They bought tickets to see him hit. So I get him 3-2. And I'm thinking, am I really going to let this guy hit me? You got to be kidding. There's 50,000 people. Do I want to embarrass myself? And so instead of throwing him a fastball, I threw him a curveball. He took it for strike 3, and he never talked to me again in his life.
It doesn't surprise me. Hey, a final thought from me, and I appreciate the stories. They're fantastic. I wish we had longer. Do you think – I'm a big believer. I've said this for a long time. I've gotten in some trouble. I think Bill Freehand's a Hall of Fame catcher. I think Lance Parrish is a Hall of Fame catcher. And I think you could make the argument – I think you can make the argument that Mickey Lolich, just because it's a lefty, okay,
I agree.
He ranks 5th all time in strikeouts. It's borderline for him, but I think Freehand and Parrish, and as well as Whitaker, belong there. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I didn't see the other two guys play enough, but I will say this: Freehand number one. I mean, there's no way he can't be in the Hall of Fame. And then, of course, you got Mickey right behind him. Anybody who strikes out 3,000 guys, but I'm sorry. I mean, there's got to be a place in heaven for you. And heaven starts down here in Cooperstown. And boy, I'll tell you, it's one of the more disappointing things. We've been talking about freehand and Lois for a long time. And you know what? Our organization is being run by the players right now. That's not a good thing. And I'm told there's a lot of trade-offs. Like, well, you take this guy, I'll vote for this guy. You do this guy, I'll do this guy. If that's the case, and I was told by the guys that really are a part of it, if that's the case, then the Hall of Fame has to be redone, reset up again to get it back to where it used to be, and let the people who have no inclination to be a part of it do the voting based upon statistics.
I don't disagree with you. I would like the organization to go to bat, no pun intended, for some of the all-time greats in Tigers history. I have said it numerous times, and I said it a number of times while I was broadcasting games, and I was just kind of told, leave it alone. I think it needs to be more inclusive in that regard. So,
well, let me say what you want to say. Yes, our organization has done the worst job of promoting our guys. We've always been in a small market. We don't get the exposure that they get in New York, they get in LA, they get in Chicago, they get even in Miami. They go crazy down there. I'm telling you, our organization has never, ever, ever got. Once Campbell left, Campbell, of course, the game was a little bit different then. But with the new ownership, with especially this ownership, they just don't step up for the guys that played here. And what's really serious about it, and I'll give you one fact, and I'll go. We have one guy who runs the members who played here. One guy, and you can't. It takes 10 phone calls to find him in a week. So, I mean, that's how much interest they care about running the ball club up and promoting it. And there's no better way to promote your team than having a Hall of Famer.
I don't disagree with that. And I think it has to be done. But thank you for so many great baseball memories on behalf of Tiger fans everywhere. Thanks for the championship. Thank you for the time. Hope your surgery goes well on the hip, and I hope we can talk again soon. It's a great chance to talk to you.
I look forward to it. You do a hell of a job. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that very much. Denny McClain, a two-time MVP, one of just 25 pitchers in history to win the MVP as well as the Cy Young. So hats off to him. Great memories about Mickey Lolich, the great Mickey Lolich, passing at the age of 85. Thanks for your time this morning. Appreciate it. Thanks to Trent Bally. Thank you to Denny McClain. We're back with you tomorrow morning. X's and Bros throughout the state of Michigan, starting at 6 o'clock. Here on the Michigan Sports Network.
It's time to go on the court.
DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today and use code HUGE for a special offer when you sign up. That's code HUGE only at DraftKings